ฮัลโหลมีคนเข้ามาแล้วน่ารักมากสวัสดีครับแฮปปี้เดี๋ยวนะของเราเสร็จนะเอ่อ B03 right 203ใช่ไหมฮะ All right. So it's time for us to do for the first check the attendance, right? I'm going to say that to those of you just zoom into the in this Zoom already, right? Just make sure that you check your attendance. Again, right? I just want just your name and ID student for 3 digit here. Great. Thank you. ไปเช็คชื่อเลยนะฮะวันนี้คลาสที่5 ออนไลน์เหมือนเดิม I would say that for us, we are going to run a class only online. But what you need to have to go to the campus just only for midterm and final, right? Just because I think we should have at least time meeting face to face too. So I would say that I decided to run a class on site just only for the week midterm, which is I can say week nine, right? Week 9, maybe the end of the first week of October, and then for midterm, right? And then for the final exam, um the first week of December. Yeah, so here we can run the class through the online. Basically, is okay? โอเคไหมฮะโอเคพิมพ์โอเคใครโอเคบ้างเนี่ยจะดูหน่อยแบบหนึ่งนะไปเช็คชื่อก่อนเลยครับเดี๋ยวให้เวลาสัก3 นาทีใจเย็นๆ all right to those of you just zoom in make sure that everyone's here everyone check the attendance just because the attendance can make sure that you do something such activity just because from my class I'm going to shift a bit in order to make sure that you can have a participation through interactive activity. So we're going to have like a speaking floor, right? Speaking floor discussion part and try to make sure that you can speak up once for a while that we have a class meeting together through the online here. Yep. Okay, let me check. Let me see how many of you here. The Zoom for the Zoom. Can you have the Zoom? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Let's say 12 student here. And let me check into your attendance first. Attendance check is at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Great. Thank you so much for attending the class. So basically for the ECP, right? So we have to prepare for the TOEIC test, especially for reading, grammar, also listening comprehension. For the part of listening comprehension, I think I just let you do this as a homework weekly on a weekly basis, right? Just because I'm going to give you such a practical tip or some kind of effective strategy. But I do understand that for a listening part, it's about like you have to be focused. So I mean that if you can take yourself into practice or just listen by yourself at home or when you have a time, at least 20 minutes or half an hour, try to make it or expose to the listening resources, especially for listening TOEIC, right? Okay, TOEIC listening test here. I think all of us are here together, right? 15 students here, right? If you're ready, just type one for me, please. One ก่อนครับกด1ขึ้นมาเลย ในซูมนะใครอยู่ในซูมบ้างกดไม่ยากกด1กด2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10แล้วเล่น All right, I hope you guys are ready a bit and all of us are here together, right? Again, right, for the first introduction, I have to say again that for my class, we're gonna have English presentation too. Let me check that. Is there any group presentation for today? If they're gonna have an English presentation, just raise your hand for me, please. ถ้าใครมี present เดี๋ยวยกมือให้อาจารย์โดนิดหนึ่งนะฮะจะได้เช็ค Okay, so basically, I'm going to say again, right? Just because from my class instruction here, ECP or TOEIC test, I'm going to design a class into a different ways, but all in all, I have to make sure that all of instruction can meet the criteria, right, for the TOEIC preparation. So basically, the first part is all about grammar, sharing, learning, and presentation. So basically, all of you have to do or ask to do your presentation, but if not, we can postpone or like we can do it later. I'm going to say that is a part of your participation too, and is a part of the score, right, from those who have to take the midterm and final exam too. I'm going to let you do a presentation for a half an hour. So the slot for the first time, right? Let's say 9 to 9:30, you are asked to do a presentation and sharing the information together. After that, we shift to the speaking part or discussion part. So for this activity, I would encourage all of you to do participation. At least you can talk a bit, and then I can clarify or elaborate for your own understanding here to be more. So basically, they're going to have two part of speaking activity. The first one is that general talking, right? General talk, meaning that you have to talk what you understand or even comprehend in particular concept, right? Say, and after that, we have to deep or go into the detail of TOEIC preparation. So everyone have to, talk and share a bit, just because I think that if there is no presentation, so we have to shift into that activity instead. And after that, for listening comprehension, if we have time, we can practice together. But I'm going to see that it is going to do in that case or not. But if not, I might let you do as a homework. When we break, after we break, we can do the TOEIC test for part 5 and part 6, which is heavily on focusing on the, test preparation, grammar part, text completion, or even incomplete sentences here. And the last section for the class for my ECP is that you have to expand your vocabulary, right? So I would suggest that everyone have to do this, just because it's about the learning process that we have to do the test too. And before we go, we can do just a little activity that you have to create, a meaningful sentence from sentences, composing, structuring, or what else can be, right? For the last section here. Yeah, I think hope you guys ready, right? มาครับไปเลยสกิปไปก่อนแล้วกันนะมันเหมือนไม่มี ไม่เป็นไรครับไม่ worry all right, so for the first activity for today's class, I'm going to let you see this kind of activity first. Think about it. So for this activity, it's all about you have to explore the idea based on your own understanding here, right? So we can see there are 3 following questions here. The first one is that, what do you think about perfectionist, or becoming a perfectionist? Is that a good way or not, right? If you are thinking about perfectionism, might cause some negative consequences. So can you give an example of that? Or even if you are thinking that a perfectionist can deal with a cooperation with other people, or we have to make sure that we become to be as much as perfection in order to make sure that everything go hand in hand. So try to illustrate by giving such information or even example based on your own understanding. I would suggest that you can say something that has been happened from your personal experiences too. So I think it should go sharing and then talking about this, right? If you prefer to choose the first question, try to prepare for item A. Okay. Moving to second question is that what do you think about this one is a quotation or quote that is related to positive mindset or even cultivate such a psychology. How can you say? I mean psychology, right? Or in order to make sure that you have a positive things like that, right? Allow yourself to make a mistake. So basically, when we relate it to the way that we have to prepare for the TOEIC exam, right? So I can say that for me personally, I have to practice for the TOEIC test too. So I can see that I made a mistake a lot for the first time. So meaning that if I just stop and then see that, oh, how hard it is, it might cause a problem later. So what I'm saying here is that allow yourself to make mistake is the first of a learning process too. So if you have any idea or you just want to share based on your own experiences here, try to say something, right? Maybe it happened for positive consequences too. For example, like if you allow yourself to do mistake, for example, like you did a mistake on grammar or vocabulary, and then you learn it from your mistake, and you can improve yourself to be better. Or even you can compare to while you preparing for the TOEIC test, you might have a question or difficulty challenging from doing the grammar part, and then you did a lot of mistake, and then you have to learn from it. So this is a kind of learning process too, right? If you prefer to choose item B, I can say that just prepare and then just share the idea from second question here, right? Moving to the last question is that, so we can see from what do you think about try not to procrastinate? Okay, so here we have to understand the concept of, try to delay something or not just do it at the right time. So procrastinate here, it means that how you delay something that is not completely done properly, right? So I can say that it's a part of our habituation. For example, like some people may think that it's not good. And if you say so, how do you think that procrastinate may cause a problem later in your life? And one of the most important aspects for procrastination is that it's about it's about self-improvement. If you can let this kind of thing go from your action or behavior from day-to-day basis, I can say that you might improve a little bit more progress from your own self-improvement later. Okay, again, right? You are asked to choose just only for one out of three. If you prefer A, just choose A. If you prefer B, just go for it for B, right? Or if you think that you want to choose C, just choose C and then prepare yourself a bit and then talk, right? This is a volunteer basis. I'm not going to, force anyone to talk much, but I would expect a bit that everyone can join. More or less is fine just because we have a floor on opportunity for speaking class today. All right, I'm going to let you prepare a bit, maybe maybe 3 to 5 minutes, right? Once you're ready, you can turn on the microphone here. It's okay? ใครเข้าใจแล้วกด2ครับกด2ดีกว่า So anyone can share if you want to, right? Just turn on the microphone here and then choose the, go ahead.
Hello.
Yep.
What is this number? What is this A, please?
A, right?
So about the perfectionist. So it's good to be perfectionist, but sometimes a bit too much might cause issues like your stress or emotion. Because like sometimes you just aim for being perfect, and a bit too much might cost your life.
Yeah, right. Okay, good. Thank you so much for your sharing here. So for today's class, I think you can type great into the line group once you're done for the first activity here, right? So one of your friend, right? Thank you so much. One of your friends said that perfectionist is fine for some reason, but perfectionism may cause a problem too if we cannot even fully understand what it seeks to make yourself to become perfectionist in reality. All right, thank you so much for your sharing here. Go ahead. Anyone want to share? Share. Good.
Can I?
Yep.
I choose B item. So I think people can doing some like mistakes, but when you make some mistakes and then you learn from it, or then improve with that, and leading like to a positive development from that situation, I think it will bring benefits from what you have learned.
I see. Great. Thank you so much for your sharing. Just type great into the line group, please. All right, just make sure that you did participate in this kind of activity together. Right. Thank you so much. So one of your friends just said that allow yourself to make mistake is a key or pathway to have a long journey in order to make sure that you can become a successful person later, right? So what I'm saying here is that it's okay that you can make mistakes just because the mistake is a part of our learning process too. But anyway, just be reminded that if you did or having some mistake, you have to make sure that you shift it into the right direction, right? Thank you so much for your sharing here. Next, please.
Can I?
Yeah.
I choose question B. In my opinion, I make a mistake is a way of learning and make me think carefully before I'm doing something, and I would like to improve myself from the mistake.
Great. Thank you so much for your sharing here. Just make sure you type great. Everyone have to type Drake for the first activity here. Just make sure, because I can see how many of you done for this activity. But I'm not going to pressure all of you, but I just want to hear you can talk and share a bit, just because I think it might prepare you to have a chance for speaking floor opportunity too, right? Okay, so one of your friends just said that it's about self-improvement. Is that right? Just because I would say that if you never done anything before, you can't even say that you did some mistake. But if you've done something here, it's a process of learning or even a process of self-improvement. So here we can accept the mistakes and then we can see what's going to happen in the future, right? Thank you so much for your sharing here. Next, please.
Can I? I choose B because I think it's good, because they will learn about mistakes and find the way to correct those mistakes. It improves themselves and make them going up.
Great. Thank you so much for your sharing here. So again, right, one of your friends just shared the different idea that just because we see that our life happened from ups and downs. I mean, some part of our life can going up, or even some part of our life may feeling going down or falling down, I can say. So sometimes we have to see just a positive side, just because when it comes to falling down, you did some mistake and we have to recover it or even change it to be better, right? So here we can see that life or even self-improvement can allow yourself to do some mistake and then go for further improvement here. Thank you so much. Just make sure that you type great, great, great. Next, please. Crap.
Can I, teacher?
Yep.
I choose A.
Mm-hmm.
I think being a perfectionist is very good thing for you, such as your image and posture. But being a perfectionist too much will make people allow you uncomfortable or unable to understand you.
I see. Thank you so much for your sharing here. Just type great into the light group, please. Okay. So one of your friends just raised the example of becoming a perfectionist can be a great in terms of like for some career or professional career, for example, like a great manager, a great president, or a great teacher. So they try to make themselves to become a perfectionist as they require to do so. But sometimes it may cause mental health or mental, arising issues that we can see that this ones might be a little bit pressure, or even like it may cause for some, day-to-day interaction with others, right? So it means that we have to balance perfectionist in what we are going to do, or what kind of thing that we have to stress-free, or even things like that. Is that right? Thank you so much fun for your sharing here. Next, please, just make sure that everyone talk and then type great into the line group, right? Nee. How many of you? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Done for great today, class. Anyone want to share, just turn on the microphone. You don't have to talk long. You don't have to talk short. Just talk. That's it.
Can I?
Yep.
I choose B. Allow yourself to make mistake because it's kind of impossible to be perfect all the time because mistake makes us growth and changing over time.
I see. Thank you so much for your sharing here. Just type great, right? So one of your friends just said that everyone is imperfect, I can say. And so the way that we have to allow ourselves to make some mistake is a kind of process. The better way in order to make sure that your life become fully happiness, or even see just a in the way that we can see from the positive things. Is that right? Great. Thank you so much for sharing here. Next, please. Yeah, so this is kind of like one of your preparation for mental health, just because I do believe that if you are healthy, right? I mean, if you have a positive or cultivate positive mindset, you understand this kind of area of some perspective, right? Perfectionist, allow yourself to do mistake or try not to, delay something or procrastinate what you are going to do. This is kind of learning process too. So what I'm saying here is that everyone share the idea, and then I hope that you guys can share the ideas and we can learn it from each other, right?
I pick number 2.
2, good.
Uh, I believe that allowing oneself to make mistake is an important aspect
Yeah.
of personal growth. Mistake also provide opportunity for like gaining experience and so on.
Great. Thank you so much for your sharing here. Just type great into the line group. Great. So one of your friends just said that allowing yourself to do some mistake is a kind of a process to make it happen in reality, right? So we have to understand or even acknowledge a bit that life is not fully happiness from time to time. So we have to see some drawback or even struggling a bit in order to make sure that you can make yourself become more mature or even further progress yourself in a realistic world, right? So what I'm saying here is that it's okay for everyone to do some mistake, but we have to learn from it, right? Thank you so much for your sharing here. Just type. Just make sure that everyone type once you did speaking here. I think it should call for, no, I don't want to call anyone just because I just want everyone to do such a voluntary basis, right? กี่คนละเดี๋ยวขอดูก่อนแป๊บหนึ่งนี่ grade มาแล้ว1 2 3 4 5 6 7ขออีกสัก2 คนได้ไหมเดี๋ยวเรา move ไป Q2 All right, anyone want to share? You can share the repetitive or even the same idea from others, but what I want from you is that just talk or speak up, just because I think it's all about participation or even sharing, learning to each other. Yep.
Can I?
Yep.
I should see because I think procrastinate make me have a negative feeling and lack of productivity. Like when I plan to run in the morning tomorrow, I have to prepare myself and wake up earlier and not to procrastinate. Yes.
I see. Thank you so much for your idea or your sharing the information to your classmate here. Right. Just make sure that you type line now. Type great. All right, into the line group. All right. So one of your friends said that try not to procrastinate is a key factor that everyone can cultivate from day to day or daily basis. What I'm saying here is that it's about self-organized or even self-planning. Just because if you just delay or just let it go, just not doing something or cannot even prioritize what you are going to do, 1, 2, 3, first, second, third, things like that. It is very important to make yourself become, delay person, or, self-maturity might be deprived from what we are going to see ourselves as a self-improvement here. Anyone want to share next, please? ขออีกสักคนหนึ่งเดี๋ยวเรา move ละ
Can I share?
Yep.
Okay, I choose the C choice because try not to procrastinate doesn't mean that you have to finish all the work, but even you did a little, it's already not count as procrastinate, so you made some progress.
Great. Thank you so much for your sharing here. Just type great into the line group. All right. So one of your friends said that it doesn't mean that we have to completely done something properly in the timely manner. I mean, procrastinate is a part of, I would say that it happens for everyone. It happens to us that we can procrastinate or delay something. But here, one of your friends just said that procrastinate may cause a big picture of, failure. So what we need to do is that we have to come up or just do a little thing from time to time in order to make sure that we can construct or even build it to be better, right? Thank you so much for your sharing here. มีใครอยากจะแชร์เปิดไมค์ได้นะก่อนเรา move นะครับ alright great right okay so I hope you guys can participate, right? It doesn't mean that everyone can do this kind of activity, but I hope that if some of you may involve with this kind of interactive activity, so this kind of learning process that we have planned to each other. That's all, right? I think it's enough for the first activity for all of us today, just because you are Gen Z. We have to move forward, right? All right, this is a little bit detailed. I'm going to moving on to the next slide here, discussion part. I would say that for this one is quite a little bit detail and a little bit information that you have to share to your classmate here. So my design activities that talk and share. So again, right, just the same pattern here. We have three questions, following questions here, but it is related to how well you can prepare for the TOEIC test. And I just want to share some idea for all of you here. So when we see from the first, from the first question here, we can see that why do we need to understand the TOEIC test format? Why we need to understand, why we need to know the TOEIC test format. So basically the TOEIC test format is going to have, the first one is that listening test, listening comprehension, which is divided into 4 parts. The first photograph or question response, conversation, and also the talk, right? Basically, you need to do such instant communication or understand spoken communication through listening comprehension here. And the other part is that a reading part, which including grammar, right? Sentence completion, vocabulary in context, or even reading or some comprehension from a reading, especially for a business track, right? It means that you have to read email or double email set into that. My question is that why do we need to understand this kind of test format, and how do we prepare it to be better, right? If you like the first question, just prepare for the first question here. If you're done, we can move to a second and other questions here. All right, so we can see from the second question is that, do you think it is essential to comprehend or understand the nature of purpose of the TOEIC? So basically, the purpose or objective of TOEIC test is that to identify your ability to use English in the business context, right? Especially when it comes to have a recruitment or even job applying in the international company. So you are asked to submit the TOEIC test as a proof or certificate to make sure that you have ability to use English in the real communication. So for the second part, you can see that through critical thinking or even thinking skills here, right? And understand the complicated context of the test, right? So the questions ask you that, is that important to use critical thinking, right? Why, practicing or even doing the test of a TOEIC? If you say yes, how we use it or cultivate critical thinking here into the real test, okay? If you think that you want to share the idea of thinking skills, analytical thinking skill, or even critical thinking skill that happen to the TOEIC test format, so try to share, right? Again, right? So it's a different dimension, right? If you choose if you choose the first question, you are asked to deal with the test format. But if you choose second question, you have to understand why we need thinking skills then put into practice our TOEIC test, right? And the last question is that this one: do you think a TOEIC test including listening comprehension? So we have to practice about listening skill, right? And then reading comprehension. So it composed for it's about like grammar part, reading part, or vocabulary, right? Or even speaking and writing to some extent for some countries, for example, like Japan or Korean, they're gonna have like speaking test and writing test too. But here in Thailand, we just focus on listening and reading as a receptive information and test the ability to comprehend two-way spoken communication in the business context here. Again, right, for the third question, you can see that for 4 skill integrated here, listening, reading, speaking, and writing can highlight or, make an important, right, in each section of professional context. So we have to understand that professional career in the future, that it needs for 4 integrated skill or not. How, right? If you choose for the last question, you have to talk in every skill set. For example, like why we need listening, why we need reading, speaking, and writing here. Hope you guys understand, right? Just because it's a little bit detailed, but I can say that it serves and prepare for all of you to say something here. Understood? ใครเข้าใจแล้วกด 3 ครับรอบนี้จะแบบดีเทลนิดนึงแต่ว่าคิดว่าน่าจะ work, right? So I'm going to let you prepare a bit, maybe 3 to 5 minutes. 3 to 5 minutes. If you finish preparing yourself before 3 to 5 minutes, just turn on your microphone here, okay? All right, all right, all right. Anyone want to share? Just choose one or two or three, and then talk. Uh-huh. So if you're ready, just turn on the microphone here. Yep.
I choose the first question because I think it's essential to understand the TOEIC test format because we can prepare ourselves what we will face in the real test. And the most challenging test is I think it's a listening test because the reading test that we still can read from the letter on the paper, but listening test you only had a few chances to listen, and now you have to think about it in your head. You cannot reread it or anything else.
I see. All right. Thank you so much for your sharing here. So here I see that we have to type excellent. So if you're done for a second part of discussion here, just type excellent into the line group, just because I have to say gratitude, a positive thing for all of us who did the activity for all together. Right, so thank you so much for the idea. So one of your friends just said that we have to understand, we have to make sure that the TOEIC performance test can be aligned to what we are going to prepare for the TOEIC, right? Just because it is going to have, I can say that it's going to have the aspect of challenging aspect that you have to prepare too. And then he just raised the difficulty of listening comprehension, just because I do understand that just because we don't have much experiences or even opportunity to listen a lot, meaning that it's hard for us to understand just because it's a deep down for the listening comprehension. So you are asked to listen based on what you are listening or understanding from the spoken communication. So sometimes might be various variety of accents or even complicated talk, for example, like pacing or why they are speaking to each other, right? So it means that we have to try to practice. My suggestion for the listening test here, my suggestion again, right? I think you can listen based on your own understanding first, without any clue, any information. Just listen and try to practice your ear. I mean, your ears, right? Your ear, to become be familiar with this kind of thing. And after that, if you have a problems, I can say that you can see some subtitle or lyric, or even how can I say, type script in English, right? Written communication here, and then just make sure that you got the point from the listening or grabbed the main idea from listening comprehension here. Great. Thank you so much for your sharing here. Next, please.
Can I?
Yeah.
I chose number one. So the reason why we need to understand the TOEIC, I think it's because we need to familiarize ourselves with the TOEIC test, with the format of each section of the test. And in order to save time when taking the TOEIC test and not cause you feel excitement.
Yeah.
And for the challenging part of the reading section, I think it is the way how to find the main idea or main point in each paragraph. And for the listening part, I think it's the way how to use for concentration to listen it carefully to make sure that what you listen is it correct or not.
I see. Great, great. Thank you so much. Just type excellent into the line group, please. Okay, great. So thank you. One of your friends just make sure that it is very important and highlight that the understanding of a TOEIC test format can bring the opportunity to make yourself become successful learner, and you can get such an impressive score from the listening competition or listening test here. So she just raised the let's say a problem, right? Or even some challenging talk from a reading section is that you have to be fast reader and you have to make sure that you understand the the core, right? The core of the text. And also that while we practice the test, we have to timing ourselves, and then it seeks for like what we can do or what we cannot do. So I would say that it's about a learning process too, just because if you can see or identify yourself that you can do, is your achievement. But if you see that you have to trying hard or attempt so hard to make it happen, so it's about learning process too. So we have to see in different side, right? All along, both listening and reading skill are equally important that we have to master or even put into practice a weekly basis, right? I'm going to say that for listening, it's about like your own understanding. You can do some tip and strategy and then apply into listening test, but all in all, I can say that you can monitor your improvement by your own. But for reading test, is about like we can learn it together, just because you have to understand for the grammar part or even the lesson vocabulary, right? So sometimes we can put into our classroom here. Thank you so much for your sharing here. Just type excellent, please. Yeah, Mariang. Next, please.
Can I?
Yep.
I choose number one. I think if we understand the TOEIC test format, it can make me not too excited when do the test, and maybe can get some trick before doing the test, and it can make reduce the time to do the test. And I think reading part is challenging for me because I think it had to use mode of memory like grammar and vocab, something like that.
Yeah, great. Excellent, please. Okay, great. Thank you so much for your sharing. So one of your friends just mentioned that it is about a test preparation, effective strategy when we deal with the TOEIC test format. So we need to understand that it's about timing test. If you are running out of time, you cannot even completely done the TOEIC test properly. How can you achieve such an unexpected score, right? So here is about that we have to understand the text format. And she just raised the example of reading part is a root of, it requires you to have a memorization on vocabulary or deep understand how structure can arrange into that sentence or even sentences, right? Or even some kind of idiomatic expression or what the vocabulary can be used in that real context. Or meaning translation, it requires too. So it's about like memorization or root of memorization here. Yeah, so I do agree that it requires all of you to have some kind of memory to deal with reading tests, because it's a long passage that you have to read, and it seeks the real understanding from the text given too. Thank you so much for sharing here. Excellent, please. Next ต่อเลยนะ พูดได้ครับ ไม่ต้องกลัว Yeah, you can choose the first question if you wish to answer or reply for this question, or even you can choose the second question if you want to share something about thinking skills. Okay. Again, I think it's very important for a thinking skill when it comes to have a comprehension. I mean, if you understand something, so you can, predict or lead something else, right? In order to make sure that you can use your thinking skill and put into practice while preparing such a TOEIC test. All right. So if you have any, different perspective or dimension that you can share from the thinking skill here, try to make it happen here. And the last question is that just because we deal with listening and reading, but some countries, I can say they're gonna have like a speaking test or even a writing test too. So to what extent, or do you have any idea that it is important to do so or not, or just limit for listening and reading test here? Right? If you're in chair, just choose and then talk.นะใครยังไม่พูดได้เลยนะครับ so we got excellent for 3 students here. It's a little bit detailed, but I think it's for your preparation here. คือมันอาจจะยากหน่อยแต่ว่าน่าจะ work ไหมไม่ทราบนะฮะแต่ว่า work อยู่ yeah ขออีกสัก2 คนนะฮะ2 คนพอเดี๋ยวเรา move ละ yep มาละ
I pick number 1.
Number 1, right? So what do you think about it?
I think it's how taker allocate their time wisely and plan strategy for taking a test. Furthermore, the more challenging task is, I think, listening, because it is hard to pick up, to catch up a word or sentence from a native speaker correctly and consistently.
Thank you so much for sharing here. Yeah, just type excellent, please. Right, one of your friends said that why do we need to understand the test format? It's just because we have to deal with the test, and we have to manage ourselves to do the test properly. For example, allocating yourself to do a reading part much more important than doing grammar part, things like that, or even you have to make sure that you do a timely manage for listening tests, because it's run for just only one time and you cannot even re-listen again and again, right? So this is very important for preparation too. And he just raised the difficulty or even challenging task for listening tests, because it seemed to all of us that we cannot even catch the real word spoken from a native speakers, or even the understanding of like shift paraphrasing. They are going to say like this, but in the written text or the item question might be written in different way. So we need to understand and make sure that it goes hand in hand here. Yep. อีกสักคนหนึ่งครับคนสุดท้ายแล้วเดี๋ยวเราปล่อย flow แล้วso if anyone want to share, just choose the question, right? 1 or 2 or 3, and then just share. I think for the third question is quite interesting, just because we cannot even propose any kind of like how can I say? I mean, speaking or even writing in this kind of like TOEIC listening TOEIC test. Basically, we prepare for listening and reading test, right? But sometimes we need to understand that speaking of writing are equally important for the, let's say like the measurement of our ability to use English in the real context, right? พูดได้นะครับยากไม่เอ่ยใครยากพิมพ์ XY ครับผมใครรู้สึกว่าพาร์ทนี้ยากไม่เอ่ยOkay. I understand that we have done this kind of activity, right? Just because I hope you guys enjoy learning and sharing the ideas, information, or what you are thinking, expressing yourself here, right? to all of us to each other. Great. Thank you so much for your sharing here. พอแล้วเนาะใครพอกดอะไรดีกด9ครับ move ละexcellent เข้ามาแล้วนะครับ1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9มีคนกด9ด้วยนะฮะโอเคกดนิดนึงกด9มาเลยนะครับ Okay, I hope you guys understand or got some idea from what we are discussing so far, right? Basically, for the 3 questions here, I have to sum up a bit. The first question is required for all of you to understand the test format, both listening and reading. For a second question is about like test preparation. I would say thinking skill plays such an important role to make sure that you can predict or guess some ideas from the from the given text, especially when it comes to do the test for a reading test. And the last question is about like when it comes to real communication, it doesn't mean that we just focus on listening or reading comprehension. In order to make sure that you can express the idea through speaking or spoken communication, and also that the way that you can write, email or reply the email in the real communication or just written communication here is also important aspect you have to, practice and learning to each other here. Great. นะฮะผ่านแล้วนะsit. All right. So for listening skill, right? For this one is that I'm going to let you do as a homework, but I'm going to share a bit from my tip and strategy while preparing listening part. Basically, it's about like you have to make sure that you're listening based on your own understanding. This is the first or the key question that all of you have to practice. Again, right? Just practice by your own first. Second, you can see, how can I say? You can see the subtitle, right? Or you can see from the text script in order to make sure that you understand for listening part. Is that okay to you for the homework? Yes or no? Yes พิมพ์ yes นะฮะทำการบ้านนะโอเคจะได้ไปเบรก So I'm going to send you the link for the listening test. Do as a homework. แป๊บหนึ่งนะครับ3 So everyone can see from the line group that I just sent you the link from the YouTube, just because my Zoom cannot even open up the, turn on the listening, right? The listening from the YouTube here may cause like interruption from outside, just because we have we cannot use a microphone here. And also that I would suggest that you can do as a homework. Again, right? You can see that from the link that I have sent to you is the real test from the listening test from Japan examination, just because for Japan I can say that they have highlight that importance of TOEIC as a tool for business communication and business corporations, right? So for this part, I just let you practice for part 1 and 2, which include paragraph, I'm sorry, it's not paragraph, photograph and question response, right? So basically it's about like a 31st question that you have to practice to each other. I would recommend again that you can try to practice for 2 time attempts. The first time is that just listen by your own understanding and try to practice your ear with this kind of listening comprehension, right? And the second part is that just make sure that you you answer the right you know, you respond to the question correctly, and then if you did some mistake, you just make sure that you see from the subtitle and you can do as a homework โอเคนะโอเคกด111ครับผมเดี๋ยวไปเบรกกันงั้นไปเบรกดีกว่าครับเบรก10นาทีนะเจอกันอีกทีวันนี้เรียนเร็วแน่เลยไม่เป็นไรไม่มีพรีเซนต์เจอกันอีกทีเจอกันอีกที15ก็ได้15นะไปเบรกกินโอเค see you Hello where are you now ใครยังอยู่บ้างครับ ถ้าอยู่ให้กดอะไรกด5 เอาให้ครบครับ10 เลขเนี่ย So everyone here, right? If you're here, just type 5 to make place. That's it. Great นะกด5นิดหนึ่งเดี๋ยวเราต้อง move floor ละวันนี้เลิกเร็วได้ไหมเอ่ยสัก11 โมงได้ไหมครับได้ไหม11 โมงไหมเอ่ยถ้า11 โมงกด7ครับ agree upon all of your preferences nah okay I would say that because you can have a time to practice listening test so all in all I try to make a class to finish at 11 and 30 but sometimes like just because we miss for a presentation and also like so we have to finish a class early as it seeks to be like that กด7นะ7ให้ครบก่อนเดี๋ยวต้องไปละ all right so again right for the listening part if you don't understand you have to review this kind of thing and try to answer this is the key flaw to practice for TOEIC listening test but I think I should skip it then just because if you have a time you just see like from two speakers they are speaking to each other right and what you need to do is that just see the question and try to answer based on your own understanding but I would say that the chances are I mean the opportunity to practice listening is that just listen from the link that I sent to you on the YouTube just because it's about like the way that you can practice but here it's about concept so I think it's more effective if you do a practice test together, right? Shall we go for reading and grammar part here again, right? So you can see like your first question and second question. So everyone got the handout that I sent to you in the line group already, right? So we can start doing the test for the first question and the second question here. ใครตอบได้เนี่ยพิมพ์เข้ามาเลยนะครับ Just type your answer here. นี่มีคนตอบเข้ามาแล้วน่ารักมากตอบผิดถูกช่างมันนะครับเดี๋ยวอาจารย์เฉลยแล้วแต่ว่าอยากให้เราตอบมาก่อนเราจะได้ฝึกคิดนะ the reason is that I just let you answer first is because I can see that the timing that you practice and when you use your thinking skill and you come up with the final answer here and after that I try to explain but my explanation is not that overall explanation in each item just because if I can say that it's not that difficult for all of you I just quickly go for the answer but if sometimes it's a little bit tricky I can say that I try to explain elaborate as much as possible here. The report showed the overall prices are up to 3.1%, blank 12 months. So we can see since during the last, in the following and periodically over. So here we can see like 12 months is a period of time, all right? And so if you put since and for, it should go for the present perfect tense. But here's, I don't think that is related to. So the answer will go for B. Everyone can type B for me, please. B พิมพ์ B ขึ้นมานิดนึงให้มันดู participation นะครับออนไลน์เก่งมากครับต่อครับข้อ2เลยข้อ2ลองดูก่อนใครตอบได้Right, thank you so much for your answer here. So we can see from the second question here, acute hearing help most animals sense the approach of thunderstorm long before blah 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 or blank here. So for the second question, you can see from do them hearing it. Basically, we have to understand health, which is considered as verb to do. Verb to do is not verb to be, right? So meaning that if you put the verb that is parallel to each other, I can say that have would be do or have plus s it does. Is that right? So here we have to see do or does. That's it. So the answer we go for A. But if you say, just because we have to identify the word form first, and then we have to put into that blank, which is correctly fit into that context too. So the answer we go for A. Everyone can type A for me, please.พิมพ์ A นิดนึง A พิมพ์ great ครับพิมพ์ great ไม่ยากพิมพ์ง่ายอยู่แล้วนะฮะพิมพ์ great เข้ามาเลยนะฮะ that's it clear นะ move ครับตอบเข้ามาก่อนนะตอบเข้ามาก่อนไม่งั้นอาจารย์ไม่เฉลย one of your friends just answer the question here. To a company, everyone can see from question number 3. The company expects to see break-even and 15% of share loss in the second quarter. Oh, God. More than, approximately, more or less, somewhere between. So we can see from break-even and. If we just see the aspect of grammar that is related to copy-mate structure, I can say, so here you can see like between plus and, is that right? So what we need here is that the word that is, that go for between and, right? Between break-even and. So the rest is not fit in this context. Just because if you put more than here, more than plus, then something comparison between A and B, is that right? Or approximately is about like nearly, or approximately nearly something here is about like reach into something here, and more or less compare between the two. So the answer we go for D ต้องเป็น D นะครับจะยากนิดหนึ่ง Everyone can type D for me, please. This is a learning process. You don't have to be afraid of answering mistake or even answer wrong here. I think it's fine. It's okay. This is for a classroom learning. You don't have to be worried just because I can be the proctor or even correct all of mistake here. Yeah. Next, please. ข้อ 4 ตอบครับกำลังตอบแล้วเหมือนกันมีคนตอบเข้ามาแล้วน่ารักกรุบกริบ That's it. So we can see nearly all threes contain mixed polymers that can burn like petroleum, properly structured. Okay, so we can see from this the sentence, just to test your ability to understand the structure. Here. I'm sorry for my speaking. So you can see after if, when, if, or is that right? If we look at the structure here, it's about conditional sentence. Is that right? Properly structured. After properly structured, if properly structured, or when it properly structured, or is. So every answer, every possible answer that might fit into context. But here we have to see that it requires conditional sentence or not. If it requires, we have to put if here. But if not, we cannot use it. So the answer we go for B boy. ทุกคนพิมพ์ B ครับพิมพ์ขึ้นมาเลยนะฮะจะยากนิดนึงไปทวนนะ again, right? Just because after must plus with plus now or gerund. It's all about like plus A or B, things like that, right? And when it must be conditional sentence that is required something here, but I can say that it's about conditional sentence. So if that is makes sense here, you can review, and you have any question, just feel free to ask me later. But the answer we go for B. Yeah. พิมพ์ B นิดนึงนะ B มาเลยนะไปครับ5-6ตอบมาก่อนนะตอบมาก่อนเราจะได้ปิดไวๆดีมากครับผมSo the executive pointed to immigration, the biggest driver of domestic market, as leading the biggest driver rather than the biggest driver, as one of the biggest driver or resulting the biggest drivers ข้อไหนดีอันนี้ง่ายครับ so the answer will go for as one of just because this is the form for example like I usually say to all of you one of your friend one of your classmates one of your teachers so this one is the same right one of the biggest driver here so the answer will go for C everyone type C for me please ลองพิมพ์ C นิดนึงnext ขอข้อ6ครับใครตอบได้พิมพ์เข้ามาเลย ยากจังนะฮะalright มีคนตอบเข้ามาแล้ว favorite to favorite of favored by great so you can see from this question is a little bit tricky here just because you have to understand the structure first the best known of all of our birds primigrant are birdwatcher favored by okay so basically if you see just only the first glance you can see and you can say that is about you know passive form but here is the meaning is take place you know to the passive form so it needs something done is that right it needs something done but here's not something done it's just descriptive something or definition of that primogram or something here so we don't need passive form here so I don't think that A is fine here but what we need is about active form right just because it's explain a definition of it so the answer will go for A okay I'm sorry the answer will go for B boy sorry for that ตอบ B นะจะยากนิดนึงนะครับลองไปทวนดู just because it's not passive form so you cannot even put forward by but it's about like action ongoing so I understand that a favorite of birdwatchers is a key just because it describes something here everyone type B for me please พิมพ์ B นิดนึงเห็นไหมว่ามันไม่ง่ายนะครับมันจะยากนิดนึงนะครับ okay don't worry be happy ไปครับ8และ9 sorry 7และ8 7 and 8 here if you have the answer just type into the chat boxเราทำแค่10ข้อพอนะเราไม่ทำเยอะนะฮะใครได้คำตอบแล้วพิมพ์เข้ามาเลยนะ that's great someone said someone replied the answer for all of us already why the staff work in the evening ยังไงดีso here is about passive form that is refer to let's say tenses right timing tenses all right so basically while stock was being checked staff work in the evening so basically you have to identify why or wire first just because it serves to the tenses that is called continuous is that right I mean like a present continuous or past continuous here so when we see from the aspect of passive form so we need to identify that wire must put into being checked here so the answer will go for D dot here everyone type D for me please ใครตอบพิมพ์ D มานิดนึงฮะ D มาเลยมันจะ tricky หน่อยนะ so all I can say that it doesn't fit into that blank so the answer will go for D dot here yeah พิมพ์เข้ามาเลยนะ don't worry be happy how far we have come here ไปข้อ8ครับใครได้ข้อ8นี่เก่งนะเนี่ยลองตอบเข้ามากันเป็น bilingual นิดนึงนะฮะไม่เป็นไรอินเตอร์ได้อยู่ละOn March 1st, 1867, the state of Nebraska, a union when President Andrew Johnson was overridden. So here we can see was overridden is a past form, right? So if the situation happened before and after, so we have to identify that if we got the past form already, so what we need is that past perfect tense. Is that right? So you need to find or find out the past perfect tense here ตอบข้อไหนครับ admitted หรือเปล่ามีคนตอบ B ด้วยน่ารักกรุบกริบลองดูนะฮะ again right just because I've mentioned that we got past form right was overwritten which is a passive form here so the structure here is about like past perfect so we need had been is that right so the answer would go for B ทันนะมันเป็น structure ใช่พิมพ์ B นิดนึงครับพิมพ์ B หน่อยพิมพ์ B ต่อนะอยู่ไปอย่างเร็วนะครับ so again right I would say that you have to finish for 10 item 10 questions here 9 10 9 10 please if some of you got the answer just type into the chat box please the end of the year result were published manager got that business when wire because like if ตอบข้อไหนอยู่ So here, we have to identify from the version of conditional sentence, right? So sometimes we don't have to put if in that sentence all the time, just because if something happened in reality, we can choose when instead of if. Just because sometimes, like when it comes to explaining on if conditional sentence here, I can say that we can put hope. It can be if to, or even wish it can be past form that is not relevant to reality that happened from time to time, right? So here, something happened in the cause and effect. So I would say that the answer would go for when. คือเราต้องใช้ when นะฮะตอบ A ครับทุกคนพิมพ์ A นิดนึงพิมพ์เกรดลองพิมพ์เกรดสิครับลองพิมพ์เข้ามาพิมพ์เกรดเกรดเนี่ยพิมพ์ง่ายครับนะ alright The last question for today class ทุกคนดูข้อ10ครับ everyone can see from question number 10 if you got the answer just type the answer to me please yeah ตอบข้อไหนดีลองดู founded around 1075 Aroma Pueblos considered the oldest settlement in the United States continuously occupying, continuously occupied, constantly manipulating, constantly manipulated. ตอบข้อไหนครับมีคนตอบหรือยังมีคนตอบเข้ามาแล้วใช่ไหมต้องเป็น occupy right so basically just because occupy means possess right but manipulating is mean control so here it talks about the past history or past situation so I can say that it's about like settlement here has been occupied so we can say that it's considered that the oldest continuously occupied would be the answer everyone type B for me please ไปครับ B เลยนะฮะพิมพ์ B นิดนึงใครอยากได้ A พิมพ์ B เข้ามาพอแล้วเนาะ10 ข้อแล้วก็หน้าที่ของเราเดี๋ยวให้เวลาทำครับผม3 ข้อนี้ I'm going to let you finish for text completion I understand that just because the format test of a text completion here it tests your ability to process for 2 skill set the first one is that you have to understand the main idea from the reading comprehension so actually I would suggest for all of you to read in each paragraph first for example like the first paragraph what it talks about and the second paragraph what it talks about and then after that once you grab the idea or main purpose for this kind of text right you just look at the feature or grammatical features here which is including vocabulary in context or even transition or grammar part that it requires you to understand the meaning translation here all right so I'm going to let you do for 3 questions here once you finish you can type the answer into the line group right I'm going to give you for 3 minutes to finish for this kind of activities okay ใครเสร็จแล้วพิมพ์คำตอบเข้ามาเลยนะฮะเดี๋ยวให้เวลาประมาณสัก2 นาทีพอไม่นาน อุ้ยมีคนพิมพ์เข้ามาแล้ว B หรือเปล่าลองดูนะ All right, again, right? I'm writing to complain about the lot diesel generator that I'm writing to complain V. So actually, when we see the relationship between the two, the first one is that the action ongoing, the consequences, just because one of the customers just is trying to complain something, that is something happened for mistake. So here we need a past form. เราต้องการ past form นะครับทุกคน past form ต้องเป็น receiving. So the answer we go for B. Everyone can type B for me, please, for the first question. B นิดนึงทันนะใครตอบ B นี่เป๊ะ Again, right? So second question. The second question, upon unpacking the equipment, we found that the height of the mounting brackets to almost 8 inches longer than we had in our design specification. So here, I can say that you can see that the blank here tests your ability to put the right word in the blank. Is that right? Noted, informed, talk, or spoken. So here we can see that just because it is email, is a written communication. So we just try to make a differentiation. Make a comparison between the two, spoken or even a written text here. I can say that if you see talk or spoken, it's about spoken communication or speaking, right? But noted or informed, it is written into the email. Noted or informed. Informed, it means informed, right? But noted, it means recorded. So here, what we need, the meaning is that recorded. It's not informed. Is that okay? It's recorded. So the answer we go for A. Everyone can type A for me, please, just because it's a little bit tricky here. A นิดนึงเห็นไหมเราต้องฝึกทำข้อสอบ I'm sorry A ครับ A มาOkay, everyone understand, right, what I'm saying here? And I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. Again, right? Furthermore, the unit was sent without an inspection manual for the manual control unit. Please send this out to the same shipment as its correct mounting brackets. It is vital what we receive this part of Tuesday, late delivery. Okay, so we can see that late delivery may cause or will affect, right? So what we need is that future action here will be something, right, in our own installation process or schedule here. I would say it is about will affect. Is that right? So everyone can type C for me, please. So allow the answer we go for again, right? So we can see like question number 1, the answer we go for B-boy received it, sorry. Second is that noted, that's because it's about written communication here. Some of you may answer informed. Is a little bit tricky just because we have to dive into the detail that what it needs to clarify the meaning of it, right? And then the last question is that will affect just because it happened in the future and it may cause something happen in the future here, right? เคลียร์ไหมเอ่ยทุกคนถ้าเคลียร์พิมพ์เคลียร์เลยครับเคลียร์เลยนะบังคับเคลียร์นิดนึง clear clarity ดีมากครับขอให้ทุกคนเข้าใจต้องเข้าใจนะเพราะว่าถ้ายังอยู่สอบมิดเทอมด้วยกันถ้ายังอยู่สอบมิดเทอมด้วยกันต้องเก็ตเพราะข้อสอบจะทรงนี้แหละแต่ต้องละเอียดหน่อยนึงนะครับผม Next, shall we go for the last section? I'm going to let you do here for 10 minutes. ขอให้เราทำเป็นแนวแบบ vocab expansion นะครับเราน่าจะ get concept แล้วเนี่ยเราปล่อย flow แล้วเดี๋ยวอาจารย์ให้เราฝึกทำไปสัก10 นาทีแล้วก็5 นาทีสุดท้ายเรามานั่งทำ before we go นะเดี๋ยว I timing นะครับ10 minutes ใครเสร็จแล้วเนี่ยให้พิมพ์คำว่า done คูณ3ครับผม right? Again, right? The instruction is that very easy that none of you understand this kind of instruction already, right? Just find out the synonymous word, right? From word given here: effectiveness, efficient, economical, elderly, embark, emphasize, encourage, enduring, enhance, or enterprise. Once you finish 5.1, go to 5.2, right? Enthusiastic, equivalent, entitlement, evaluate, examination, excursion, expectation, expenditure, exploration, and expansion. Synonymous word, synonym, right? And then again, 30 question, 30 vocabulary: facility, failure; flexible, fluctuate; forecast, foreign; functional, fulfillment; frankly แล้วก็ faulty นะฮะเสร็จแล้วภายใน10 นาทีนะตอนนี้ 40เพราะฉะนั้นเดี๋ยวไอมาเช็คตอน 10:50ใครเสร็จก่อนพิมพ์ดันเข้ามาก่อนนะดันคูณ3แล้วก็เดี๋ยวรอทำ before we go นะโอเคจัดไปครับ Thank you so much for you have done such a very wonderful vocabulary expansion here. All right, so shall we move to the last part for today's class? Just because we have promised to all of us that we can finish a class at 11 o'clock. Again, I'm going to remind for all of you again that the rest of hour that we spent together and remaining hours is that you can put into practice for a listening test or even just prepare for exercise, right? If you wish to do so. Right, done. All right, so shall we move to the last section for today? Is about before we go, right? Collocation, now plus verb here. Sorry, I can say that just because we can gear up, improve our creating sentences from time to time, right? Just because we are in week 5 already, so I understand that some of you may have a chance to create such a meaningful sentences here, right? So here we can see that you have to create 2 version of phrase or meaningful sentences here. So let's say like the first part is that lion to roar or dog barking. So you have to make a connection between 2 collocation and create meaningful sentence by choosing or connecting with some conjunction too, if you wish to do so, right? If you prefer to choose the first one, just create and then just speak out loud, right? Read out loud before you go. Snow is falling. Plane took off, and then bomb went off and spreading out, right? Try to see connection first, and then choose some connector. For example, and. Furthermore, however, or consequently here. Everything is okay, right? Understood? Understood กด1ครับผมแล้วก็เดี๋ยวเรา before we go เลยใครพร้อมแล้วจัดมาเลยนะฮะ
Hello.
Good.
What is number 3?
Yeah.
The bomb went off and the fire from the bomb is spreading out.
All right. Thank you so much for your sentence. Yeah. You can leave from the Zoom if you're done for this activity. ใครที่เสร็จแล้วเนี่ยสามารถออกจาก Zoom ได้เลยนะฮะสู้ๆไหม
Thank you.
Next.
Can I go next?
Yep.
The bomb went off, causing a chaos and spreading out the fear.
All right. Thank you so much for your sharing here. Good. Next.
Can I?
Yep.
I pity. Yeah. The bomb went off this morning and now the dust is spreading out in this area.
Thank you so much for your sentences here. Great.
I should number 2. While the snow is falling, the plane took off from the runway.
Great. Thank you so much for your sharing here. Next.
Can I?
Yep.
The lion start to roar when it heard the dog barking.
Great. Thank you so much for your sharing your sentences too. Great. Next. ใครอยากไปรีบเลยนะฮะ ห้าม tricky นะมีคนไปแล้ว Okay. Next. Okay.
The plane took off and then the snow is falling down heavily.
Great. Thank you so much for your sentences here. Next.
Can I?
Yep.
The plane took off while snow is falling.
Great. Thank you so much for your sentences here. Next. And then I have all wrong, all right. 11 โมงแล้วยังต้องเช็คก่อน อีก2 นาทีทันอยู่ All right, I understand that all of you done for today's class already. I have to finish a class just only this and see you next week. Bye-bye.